we're coming up on the end of the Halloween season, so, gotta keep, bringing out more of the Halloween horror fun that, that this time of year is known for when it comes to movies. So recently, I just watched Freddy vs. Jason, so I was just thinking, you know what? I'll talk about this movie. Freddy vs. Jason is iconic to me because this was kind of like my introduction into this franchise. Well, both of these franchises. Well, I already knew who Jason was when this movie came out, but I didn't know who Freddy was and what movie he came from or how his powers worked. This movie came out when I was 10, and, when I first watched it, I thought it was going to be scary, but it wasn't. It was silly and fun to watch. I mean, it's a very enjoyable movie. It's one of those movies that's so silly, it's good. I honestly feel like the concept behind this movie, like in its making, was really essentially, a big argument between fans because, this is a movie that was meant for, fans and super fans of both of these franchises. It's like they couldn't decide which one was better. Freddy or Jason. They did every possible way, polling, magazines, talked to all the fans, tried every possible way, but couldn't get a clear answer. So you know what they said? We're going to make a movie out of this where these two fight each other. We'll find out that way. That's essentially what I feel like based off what I see in this movie, what it was, because this all it is just a big old showdown. The story, of course, is teen slasher garbage. I'm sorry to any fans of this movie who actually thought this story was good, but whether this story was good or bad was not even the point here of this movie. The whole point was just to find a way to get these two to meet somehow. And of course, we got, Freddy and Jason, Freddy getting Jason on his home turf in the nightmare, and getting Jason at Crystal Lake. They're basically both getting home field advantage at one point, and then finally they get Freddy out into the real world, and then the showdown happens, which is what everyone was waiting for. That's essentially the whole movie, and that's its whole purpose. The story in itself really means nothing. Even though the story is trash, though, they still had to find some way to make one of them a villain. And of course, it can't be Jason because he's not the methodical one. He doesn't think things through. He's just a muscle-bound nut. So of course, it had to be Freddy. He's the maniacal one, the cynical one. He is the villain all the way through. Still, that doesn't mean that a lot of people probably weren't rooting for him to win this fight. Because I'm pretty sure there were a lot of Nightmare on Elm Street fans who were rooting for Freddy to beat Jason. Now, as to who actually won in this movie when it comes to the, Freddy versus Jason, if you're talking about kill-wise, Jason takes it all the way. He gets a lot of kills in this movie, but, Freddy only gets a couple. But, when we're talking showdown, when they face off against each other, that's a whole new story there. And because when you watch this movie, Freddy is kicking Jason's ass almost the whole movie. But Jason's just, doing his muscle-bound nut swings that we see in almost every Friday the 13th movie. Freddy is, completely redesigned. He's not just slashing. He is punching. He is kicking. He is elbow dropping Jason like crazy. And I'm like, okay, when did Freddy turn into a mixed martial artist here? It's silly. It's just crazy that, they get Freddy doing all that stuff. The one problem I did have with this movie, and this is most likely just a personal thing, so nothing like that. It's just that they got Robert Englund, of course, to play Freddy. And, of course, why don't they? He's the original Freddy. He had been playing it for 20 years at the time. This was his last time playing the character, and he went out with a bang. But they didn't get the actor who's been in more Friday the 13th movies. The best Jason. And I'm talking about the one from Jason Takes Manhattan, Jason X, Jason Goes to Hell. A lot of the sillier ones, but still, he's the most popular Jason, Kane Hodder. Why did they not get him to play Jason for this movie? Because it would have been awesome. Probably still would have been the same, but even so, I think it would have been better to have, you know, the original Freddy with the most popular Jason go at it. I mean, like I said, that's just a personal thing for me. I just think it would have been much better. If you guys are fans of Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street and you haven't seen Freddy vs. Jason, I definitely recommend you guys see it. It's such a fun movie to watch. I've watched it so many times and I still enjoy it to this day, both during Halloween and when it's not Halloween season. It's such an enjoyable ride to watch these two, you know, horror icons just duke it out with each other. Because that's what it was meant for. So, if you haven't seen it, I definitely recommend watching Freddy vs. Jason this Halloween season. Stay epic, everybody.